Unavailable.
Hi everybody. Today is Tuesday, April 21st.
Tuesday, April 21st.
21st, 2015. Today's been a really weird day. I woke up this morning and Jess said that she wasn't going to program. And I was really surprised because she had yesterday off because of a doctor's appointment. She didn't end up going to the doctor's appointment because of stupid transportation issues. But she said she was just tired, and I did talk to her. I asked her if she was okay, if she was depressed, if she was anxious, if she felt like cutting. But I guess she said she's okay, and she hasn't, she's going to talk to her PRC right now, so I hope she's okay. So that was kind of weird, and then I kind of just hung out during the day. I was hoping to find Jonathan around to talk to him about the fact that my battery, like I think I told you, is not holding a full charge, and it says, you need to replace it, even though I've only had it for 6 months. And Robert came up with the conclusion that maybe it's a used battery, because we got it online. I think he got it off eBay, and it said brand new, but it could have been a used battery, and that would explain it. But couldn't find him. Went all the way up to the activities floor, the 7th floor. We thought we heard him page for someone on 7, but he could have just been paging for someone on, paging for someone on 7 and not actually been on 7. So we were looking around, nobody knew where he was, and Jess was supposed to have a meeting with him, an appointment, and she didn't. He never confirmed. She texted him, and this happens all the time, that things change at the last minute with him, and it's kind of like what the trade-off for having the clinical director as your therapist is sometimes you don't have meetings, and it can change at the last minute. So, I wanted to talk to him about the battery. I also wanted to talk to him about the music group, and that I would need $5 for the group, and how was I going to get that? Because the ATM, we don't know where the nearest ATM even is. It's on Chicago Ave. We don't really know where that is. We don't know if it's far enough for me to walk or who could take me, because Jess can only walk a certain distance until she builds up her time that she can walk. So I couldn't find it, but I was just whatever. I was just so depressed and just fed up with everything. It's if it's not one thing, it's another. And these people are telling me, you need to go out, this and that, and but I can't because I need money for transportation. I need money for the actual, event, and I wish I had at least $90 a month like I did at Friedman, and to ask my parents for money. At least right now, my mom is still out of work. I guess she's going to try to go back to work next week. But she hasn't worked for 3 weeks, and it's just, I don't know. I don't want to ask them for money that they don't have, but I want to get Jess a birthday present. I want to at least get her a card and something else from the Braille Superstore, and then maybe something else. But so I need at least $30 extra to get that, and then my Walmart trip where I get snacks. We spend about I'm so tired. We spend about $40, $40 to $50 over there. Sometimes it's 40, usually. We try to keep it low, but I'm just fed up with money issues. I'm fed up with this going out thing. I'm just exhausted, and I'm just who cares? And I feel bad because yet last night I met with Edith, and we were just kind of, we talked about our issues I was having, but then we were just kind of talking, and I was talking about a book, a Kathy Glass book, and I was giving her play-by-play of this whole part of the book, and going into it, and all of a sudden, these 2 residents knocked on the door, and they were we're not playing around, we really need you, and I felt so bad because I ended up talking for almost an hour probably, and half the time it was about nothing, and these people needed her, and I guess she solved it pretty quickly, but it made me feel bad, and it made me remember that I'm not the only one, so I got to be careful about how much time I take up. So that was kind of depressing. I think that started out the depressing feeling, but I guess I'll have to wait till Friday. I've known with Jonathan, there's no, it's not going to make him do anything, and Edith was saying yesterday, I said, Jonathan set this pattern of he doesn't answer his phone anymore. when we call, and he used to always answer his phone. And I said, maybe he's just setting a new boundary. And she said, well, I think he's treating you like he treats everybody else. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, well, you were urgent for so long. You know, it was a big issue. You know, he needed to, when you reached out, he needed to, you know, respond. But he says, now you're not urgent. And so, you know, he's sort of treating you like everybody else. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So it means that, you know, I can't just go nuts and that'll get his attention. You know, I can't just, if I just go throw a tantrum or something, then, you know, or scratch or do something, you know, it's going to just make things worse. I'm not going to see him any faster because he'll leave that situation to the PRCs and he won't see me until it's resolved, which happened with the crisis unit thing in March. So I know I can, you know, the amount of emails I send him, the amount of messages I leave him, the amount of times I get upset and tell staff about it and whatever is not going to get him to come and see me any faster. It's, you know, he's going to see me hopefully when we are supposed to meet on Friday, but it could be longer. And it's just, you know, we've talked about it, and I understand why he is so busy. I mean, today I guess there was a representative from the company here looking, you know, checking out the different rooms. And the administrator, Mr. Tossi, actually knocked on our door today, and this woman from the company came in with him and looked at our room because it's a double room. And so I guess they picked ours. It's a good thing our room was like fairly clean. But, you know, he has that to do today, and who knows what he has to do. I mean, half the time he's, you know, I find out that, you know, he was in court to represent some resident or something, that he was, you know, out of the building on these meetings. And, you know, for the longest time it was physical therapy for his wrist because he broke his wrist in July or something. August, I don't know. But anyway, you know, it's not going to do any good to be complaining about it, or, you know, I mean, we talked about it. I mean, you know, we had made the commitment that, you know, if we have to reschedule a meeting, that I would at least get to talk to him and we could reschedule it within like 48 hours or whatever. So like in the next couple of days. But that kind of went off too. And like, you know, one of the days I really needed to see him, I think it was a couple of weeks ago when Jess and I had a big argument, you know, not only did we not schedule within 48 hours or even talk to him within any kind of length of time, I don't think I even talked to him until like the end. I think I saw him that next Friday and I never even got to speak to him until that point. And so, you know, I think he finally sent a confirmation, like when I left him a very, very, very angry message, you know, saying, you know, this is pretty sucks, you know, but I would leave him awful angry messages and, you know, we would talk about it and we talk about it, you know. He doesn't want to talk about it every time that we meet. I mean, every time that he misses a meeting, you know, because, you know, and I understand that, like, things come up, but I still get really angry. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, I wish he'd be able to respond, especially if it's something like, you know, it's going to happen in the next couple days that I need help with, like that group. You know, I wish he would respond, and I wish a lot of things. So yeah, I guess I'm going to just take a bath. Oh, I wanted to tell you. So I guess the one good part of the day is, for some reason yesterday I was thinking about my friend, or last night I was thinking about my friend Lisa. I used to hang out with her when I was at college. I met her at a support group, and she's very nice, and she lives in Brighton, and she has 2 really good cats. One of them is extremely friendly. And she was, you know, we'd hang out, she'd bake things, she'd bake cookies and bread, and we just hang out and talk, and it was really nice. And then we kind of fell out of touch, so I looked up her number and I called her today and we talked, and she's doing really well. She's married, she's gonna have a kid, and a baby girl in September, and I'm just really happy for her. And it was really good to just talk to her and tell her how I was doing. And, you know, so hopefully she'll watch some of my videos, and maybe she'll make some videos of her and her cat, especially the really friendly cat that goes meow when you touch him. All you have to do is touch him when he meows. It's so funny. So yeah, I mean, that was the one good part of the day. Other than that, I just listened to audiobook, Kathy Glass book, listened to Tommy's book on Kindle, which I'll talk about once I'm finished with it, but it's amazing and amazingly sad and amazingly uplifting in a way. So yeah, I mean that's basically about all I've done today. And like I said, I'm just wicked fed up with life. Edith came by and we talked, and I'm like, I'm just trying to deal with life, and she's like, oh, you're dealing with it well. Like she has a sense of humor, so she was like teasing me. She's like, you're dealing with it really good. You haven't attacked anyone, which is like kind of like our thing because, in the past when I got upset, I would push somebody or do something. So I mean, not like completely violent, but hit the wall with my fist and more like tap it. I mean, not like throw my fist through a wall. I'm not that strong. But, make a angry mess of myself. I know I'm not going out and, going nuts, but I think I don't have the energy to put up a big fight, about everything. It's just makes me down. The fact that I'm pretty much giving up on making friends at this place because everyone is so either they're so withdrawn and anxious that they can't really reach out to make friends. Some of them are very aggressive, so they can't make friends. Some of them, are a combination. Some of them are like, not grounded in reality. Some of them just don't have the social skills to make friends. They're just not down to earth people. There are very few people here that are down to earth and know that they have a mental illness and are trying to work on themselves, unfortunately, or the ones that are trying to get out of here and are hardly ever in the building. So that's hard. Like I think I was saying in another video, I wish there was a way to put like the higher functioning people on their own floor, and to move some of the other people that are just not quite with it, are very, need a different level of care, to another floor. And they were going to be doing some construction on the building. They were going to be totally changing the model of how they do things here, but because of the stupid governor and his budget cuts and his threats and everything else like that, they might not even have the funding to do that, and they might have to stay as they are. And I hope they don't cut anything, because that would be even worse. If anything, we need more staff, but I just wish, like I said, that the more higher functioning people were in one area and the people that need different support are in another area. And by different, I just mean, I don't know. Like, for example, there's a woman that's in the building, and she will go to every floor, and then she has a schedule of when she can get her cigarettes, because for a lot of people, it's just like cigarettes and coffee. Like, that's what they live for. And so these people have a schedule of when they can get their cigarettes. It's called money and cigarette management, where they can come however many times a day to get a cigarette. And so this woman will go to every floor and every PRC's office and just stand there banging on the door, knocking on the door. Hello? Is Amara there? Is Annie there? Meh. And that's just what she will do, that all day, and knock on the door and not, and she knows when, if the woman says like, when is your cigarette time? Oh, 2:00. What time is it now? 12:00. She'll know when her thing is. She just goes and does it, and a lot of the people are like that. All they care about is smoking and coffee, and that's all they do is sit around and watch old TV shows. There's a TV network called MeTV, which is like really old shows, like Mary Tyler Moore and weird cop shows that were on in like the 70s, I guess. I don't know, like older shows, and they'll just sit and watch that TV all day. And so I don't know. And a lot of people do. I mean, like I said, the people that can do other stuff end up, like I said, outside the building going and doing stuff. And I don't know how they do it. I guess they just use the train, the L system, or the whatever you call it, public transportation. But there's no way I can do that. I mean, even, the stairs are really steep. I could fall. It's way too crowded. I've been on the public transportation system in Massachusetts and here a few times. I know what it's like, and it's not something that I could do. It's incredibly crowded. sometimes you have to stand and you're off balance, and there's just so much people, and sometimes you have to get out of the car to let some people out, and then you have to get back in the car, and I can't do that. And I tried. I went someplace with this guy Peter that we used to be friends, and he took me to Trilogy. We walked there and we took the train, and it was just so stressful. And I don't want to be stressed out, and it wouldn't be worth it. So I don't know. I guess that's what these people do. I mean, some of them go out and panhandle because they're stupid. And like I said, some of them, there are a few people that do go to school or go out and do things, but they go off on their own and just do their own thing, I guess. So it's hard to find someone. I mean, I feel lucky that I have Jess in the first place. That I found someone like Jess that was down to earth enough to want to get to know me when, oftentimes excluding mental illness just in the general world, it's hard for some people a lot of people to approach me, because I'm blind and they don't know how to get acquainted, or they just, I don't know, this attitude about people with disabilities, so then to be in this environment where a lot of people don't have very good social skills, and for them to approach me is 10 million times harder. So the fact that Jess did, and I was in the room, in the observation room with her for a while. The first time I was put in the observation room, I was put in there for a few weeks and I hated it. It was when they were first ironing out my care plan for self-injury. And, Jess was very nice to me, but, when she doesn't know you, she kind of is detached and not very open. And, I was kind of intimidated by her. And she reminded me a lot of my mom. It was nothing to do with her. It was just hard. I just was kind of intimidated by her. And so, but when I was hospitalized in March, I actually asked to be put in the observation room, which took some debating because both Jess and I have self-injury issues, and there was a lot of debating about the two of us in the same room. But that kind of went on behind the scenes. I mean, I had asked to be in that room, and then they put me in that room, and it worked out. And I don't know. I didn't know about the debating until later. But, for a while, Jess and I were, nice to each other and, friendly to each other. But I didn't know that she was such good friends, wanted to be so close to me until my caseworker and I had been talking. My caseworker at the time was Callie. And we had been talking, and I had run to the room because I didn't want to talk to her anymore. And she came in to talk to me, and I was sitting on the bed, and there are curtains between all of our beds. And I was talking about how just I hated my life. And I don't think I was suicidal. I think I was just depressed. I was like, I don't have any friends. I can't make friends. I'm just like a burden to people and blah, blah. And she came over and she's like, you're not a burden to me. And she hugged me and I cried. And that was her thing. From the minute that, that happened, she was just like, I love you. I would do anything for you. I, just absolutely, we're like sisters, and she really was the one that initiated the relationship, which is a good thing. And, when there are problems, sometimes I question how it got started so fast and why she was so eager to, all of a sudden connect with me so fiercely when she honestly doesn't have very many other friends, I don't think. I mean, she has some friends, I think, that she knew from school, especially one person that she knew from school, that, that she texts and she talks to and stuff like that. And she has a couple people around here that she talks to a little bit, but really doesn't have any other friends. And it can be quite prickly to, definitely can get into arguments or irritated with other residents and stuff pretty easily. So, she's not the type of person that I would have expected to, all of a sudden latch on to me and be extremely warm and devoted to me as she was. And so that's, we go into that every so often, her and I, about the relationship and why did it start the way it started and, what are our own needs about it and everything else like that. But, I love her and I'm glad that she did reach out to me, even, I didn't expect it to be this type of close relationship that I don't think either of us have, experienced before. I think that's why it's hard sometimes. But if she didn't reach out to me in the way that she did, or reach out to me at all, if we were just roommates who were nice to each other, I wouldn't really have any friends. Like, for example, there's another girl, woman that was in the room with us. For a long time, I was with her for months, because I was in there from like March until the end of July. And she was very, very nice, and she was nice to me, friendly to me. She had a lot of different things going on herself. She was in and out of the room. She was on the phone at night, and she was doing different stuff. But, we were nice, and, she'd help me out, but we didn't really become friends. And when I left the room, we really didn't talk, and it could have easily been that way if Jess were just a little bit not like she is. If for whatever reason she didn't really feel compelled to really connect with me in the way that she did, for whatever reason that she did. Because if it were me and just based on her personality, I know I wouldn't have made a move like that. Like I said, because I was a little bit intimidated. And just because I was very depressed. I was very, I don't reach out easily to, I've had a ton of problems all my life making in-person friends. That's why it was so hard for me when when we first met and she was saying things like, I love you, I'll always love you, blah, blah, blah. And it would actually hurt to hear this stuff because I'd never heard it before and I couldn't believe it. And it was so hard to feel like I was worthy of having that level of friendship and relationship. And, so that has changed both our lives. But, I just think like, what the hell about making friends here that, Edith and I talked about it. She gave me a list of people that might be friends for me to meet. And I'd known of these people. I've heard their voices and heard people talk about these people. But I didn't know their names. And once I put the name with the person, I was like, no. Like, all of them were either like very withdrawn or not quite all there. Like, there's one with like really bad memory issues. There's one that's extremely anxious to where she can't really hold a whole conversation or, a relationship. And just the different ones that they weren't, obviously the caseworkers wouldn't pick someone that's like aggressive or has any tendencies to be that way, but a lot of them just didn't seem like very good friends that you could have a good talk with. And, and that's why this other woman, Leslie, that I have a video of her saying hi, we met her in the cafeteria, and Jess and I got to know her, and then I got to know her when Jess started to go to program, and she would take me to lunch. And she's an older woman, and she's very nice, has a really nice sense of humor, is a very nice woman, down to earth, and I really do connect with her, and I always stay in touch, and it's not as close as Jess and I, obviously. And like I said, I never, ever, ever thought a relationship would be as close as Jess and I. So, she's a very good friend. She's reliable, and she's nice, and she likes me, and I like her. But, she's going to be moving to a group home, and I don't know when. She said that they have to do a lot of paperwork, so I guess it'll be longer than I thought it would be. But it's, it's going to happen. And I'm not going to say when I lose her, I'm still going to be able to talk to her. I'll have her number. But when she leaves the building, it's going to be pretty depressing for me because that's one person gone out of two people that I feel are down-to-earth people that you can talk to. And, I don't know, like I said, and there are some younger people here, but they end up like going to school and moving out. So it's just discouraging. And like I said, for a while I didn't care, and sometimes I don't care that I only have one. I mean, the only reason I started caring or doing something about it was because Jonathan and Edith were like all over me about it, and then like staff, at this program where like you need to be emotionally independent, whatever that is, and you need to, have other friends and this and that. So I don't know. It's just totally depressing. So, sorry for the long video. I didn't think it was going to be this long, but I'll talk to you guys later, and I'm going to take a bath. Bye.
Help web stop.